Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Arien TruthSeekah podcast. Here we are on location in the beautiful
the city of Delphi. Actually, this is not a green screen. This is the view from our balcony at our hotel, the Arien Hotel. Everything has cool names here. It's named after Greek deities and mythical creatures, and Arien is no exception. He was a winged black horse, and he's got a lot of cool mythology behind him if you want to look him up. But it's close to my name also.
mythology or legend.
That's up for interpretation, I think.
Same thing. Yeah, a lot. It's beautiful here. Just the scenery, the mountains everywhere. Like there's mountains everywhere.
Yeah.
And snow-capped mountains. There's snow at the top of the mountains, and then down the mountain is green, lush green. So.
And then right at the bottom of these steep sloping mountains is the Gulf of Corinth, the sea. And the sea looks so incredible when the sun shines on it, and it's no wonder that they called this the center of the world.
Yeah, you probably can't see on the cameras, but it's already starting to do it on the back one there. When the sun hits it,
Yeah.
and does like changes color, lights up the whole sea there.
The whole sea just looks like it's metallic silver. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's what I look at, a form of divination. You know, you tap in, is the sun reflecting off of the water, but never that big. Or never. It's always just a little spot, that you could just kind of see in your vision if you get the angle right. But this angle is like perfect. And, why wouldn't it be, since we're in the center of the world, right?
Right.
This is the center of the earth, supposedly.
Yeah, this is a very magical place, especially if you're interested in divination and the seers of old and all of that. So.
Yeah, it's like why would you come here? Why would Christians come here, or somebody? Like, we're big into the prophetic, or seership, divination, all the same stuff, and like this is a big staple in divination, and being able to fortune tell or foresee the future of what was coming, and the different ways that they did it, from ancient Greece to the ancient Christians, to the Hebrews, Chaldeans, Sumerians even.
Yeah.
They all copied one another. It was all the same. It was the science, and if it worked for one, it would work for the other, and they found that out.
Yeah.
And this is home of the Oracle of Delphi, which is in prophecy and magic, pretty big name.
Yeah.
And we just got to visit her stomping grounds, if you will, at the Temple of Apollo.
Yeah.
Which is walking distance, which we're staying right at.
Yeah, it was a really surreal experience, like incredible, just standing there knowing all the history. You can just feel it, like the energy is wild there.
Yeah, there's a lot of different feelings, mixed feelings, of like trying to imagine what it was like and still be present in the energy of what it's like now, kind of thing. Before the Christians arrived and straightened that crap out.
Yeah, they
cut that out.
Completely destroyed the temple grounds and the Pythia. That's what she's known as, the Pythia. Her cave where she did her prophecies, and built a city on top of it. Built a Christian-founded city on top of it. Just completely demolished the sacred site and built a city on top of it. And what's interesting, like just looking up, because I knew a little bit about it, but I've been trying to read more on the history since we've been here. And the emperor that destroyed everything actually visited the oracle for a prophecy. And she prophesied the fall of his empire. And he didn't like it. So after that is when he instated Christianity as the national religion and
showed you.
Demolished it all. Built a city there. Christian-founded city.
Yeah. Well, we'll get more into that. One thing we can, we packed light
Yeah.
on the trip. It was an 8-hour flight. Our longest flight was 8 hours. We had a couple connecting flights, but we did get to bring our magic elixir with us,
Yes.
the magic mind.
Yes, we
And
love it.
yeah, those guys just sent us another box, and I'm glad that they did because we were running low. And we like to take these before a podcast or whenever we awake in the rising to do some studying or something like that. Helps you to stay focused, have your mind sharp. And it's a great way to start your day. It's something that's cool about it too. Once they we started talking about it on the podcast, and they gave us like a promo code and stuff for people to get their own. I was blown away by, like, on our Thursday night sessions, like how many people actually ordered and bought and said that they loved it.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool. To get to hear some feedback from other people taking a daily dose of Magic Mind.
Yeah, because this is all good stuff that we take anyways, like B vitamins and nootropics, and lion's mane is one of my favorites. I just feel like it helps me focus and
Oh yeah.
keep the brain fog away. And
Yep. We take all these in different forms,
yeah,
but this is your daily dose of all of it together in this elixir. So
and we didn't even check a bag, so these are like small enough that we just brought them in a Ziploc on the plane. So that was cool.
yep. So they give us our own promo code, which is TruthSeekah Pod Jan.
Yeah,
So they can go click the link in the description, put that in, and they save.
45% off the bundle. So it's a really good savings.
Yeah, it's almost half off. It's definitely worth it. That's the cool thing. Once you try it, you fall in love with it, and you get on their bundle and get a whole month's worth.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth it. So, man, have ours.
Yeah.
And cheers.
Cheers.
Reclaim your brain. This is good. Help you focus, man. A lot of people need help focusing.
I
A lot
do,
of
for
people
sure.
working from home and have problems focusing.
Cheers.
Cheers, my dear. Thank you, Magic Mind.
Oh, it's so good.
Good stuff. Yeah, the just the mixed feelings. Like we started off in ancient Corinth, and there's a temple of Apollo there, and there's famous now for Paul going there and preaching, famous sermon there. I think it's in the Book of Acts, right? Is that where that sermon was, maybe?
I think so. And then he's got the letters to the church there after. So it's interesting. A lot of the sexual immorality and things that he was speaking against, the reason that they did it there, specifically in Corinth, is because they had a temple that we also visited, the temple of Aphrodite, where they supposedly had sacred prostitutes. So like the immorality and sexual acts were a part of the culture there. And so when he came, he started speaking out against it and trying to show people a better way.
Yeah. But that was a cool temple too, though. We got to go up to the temple of Aphrodite,
Yeah.
and which is Venus. Also Romanized Venus,
Yeah.
romanticized as Venus. Venus is for lovers.
Yeah. Lovers and goddess of beauty also.
And we got to go on her day. Friday is Venus's day,
Yeah.
and we got to go up there on her day. And it was a good, hard journey for me.
Yeah.
For you?
Yeah, it was pretty tough.
Yeah. My knee gives me problems, so I had to be very careful, but I wanted to make it all the way up, and it was worth it
Yeah, oh, yeah.
to make it all the way to the top.
But the ground, like, it was a stone ground, which if it was a road back then or whatever, it was just very uneven and very, I can't imagine trying to get a wagon or something with wheels up that road. It was crazy.
Yes. Probably didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's what was interesting up at that temple was you noticed all the bunny poop.
Yeah.
Bunny poop, and bunnies represent
Fertility,
fertility, fertilization,
immortality. Yeah.
and also the beetles, the scarabs and stuff we saw.
And the
Tons of those.
snails too. There were
And the
like
snails, yep, those three.
everywhere you looked, there were these black beetles that looked a lot like scarab beetles. There were snail shells everywhere and bunny poop everywhere. And we've literally not seen them anywhere else on this journey except there. And also going up as we were ascending the mountain, we saw deer tracks in the mud. So it was cool making the ascent to kind of just pay homage and be there on the sacred site, because all these temples are built on sacred ley lines where the energy field is just incredible. And seeing that the animals still come up and pay homage, even though it's literally just a pile of rocks.
At the top of the mountain.
But they still go up in honor. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, we didn't have a tour guide with us, but I did have trusty AI Manly P. Hall
Yeah.
getting to celebrate with him a little bit, tell him where we was headed.
Yeah.
And that was fun. But, you know, the Christian thing, and the pagan or whatever you want to call it, the bunnies and, you know, celebrating fertility and stuff like that. Like, we took all that stuff and whitewashed it and, you know, put it in a different box.
Yeah.
So we have Easter, which celebrates the, you know, goddess Ishtar. The Easter egg, the Easter bunny, which is fertility, which is new life, which is resurrection life. It's just crazy to see how everything's just taken, stolen, and then reworked, and they just put a different face on it, change the name, or really just change the language. The names are the same.
Right.
You know, the names are the same, just in a different language. It's going to be called something else.
It's interesting how everything is so similar. These different stories, it's just the names are changed.
Yeah, it's so weird because you know, pretty much, you know, syncretism is, you know, what I guess I do is called syncretism, because I'm seeing the synchronicities and the signs and the similarities within all these religions when we were taught to find the things that are different about them. And at this point, you have to. And we see this online with some of the different theologians and Wesley Huff and what's his name, Billy Carson, and those guys, like, fighting. From the Christian stance, you have to take a theological standpoint to search for the things that are different. That's what I feel like. Maybe your mind has to be awakened to that, I guess, because, you know, like, if you can't see it, you can't see it. So you can't make someone see anything.
Right.
But once you start to see it, you can't unsee it either. And that's the thing. We start seeing more. And it's like, hold on, you're, you know, mixing things together. That's what we get accused of a lot, mixing things together.
Yeah.
And coming from a Christian standpoint of a religion, a tradition that is literally mixed together with all the religions anyway. You know, it's just that you can't see it.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't, you know, it doesn't fit in your Christian worldview.
Well, even looking up the temple where the oracle made her prophecies, the inscriptions that were on above the door, the eaves of the entry to the temple, are all things that Jesus taught. Know thyself, nothing in excess, and owe no man nothing is basically what the third one says. And when I was reading that, I was like, wow, this sounds just like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He's teaching the same principles.
Yeah.
So you can't, like, completely demolish and do away with these things, because they're saying the same thing.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what Jesus taught. Like, when those, what do you call it, essences, or that way of life, that belief, that act of kindness or whatever, wherever these things are present, there I am. Where two or more are gathered, I'm there in that, you know. And so we're talking about, you know, the worship of Apollo and honoring the gods and things like that. Like, it's the same way. It's like, you know, where people are together prophesying, Apollo is over that order and he shows up.
Yeah.
And that's how an order works.
And you need an order, because you see a lot of these false prophets and things. Like, you need somebody
yeah,
to be over
to
and
vet
managing it.
You got to
Yeah.
be vetted. Yeah, because then you just got random people showing up because they read some book,
Yeah.
pretending, and that was happening in the biblical times, and it's happening now in the church, and yeah, God is a God of orders, decency and order, does everything in order, and it's out of whack when we get out of order, we get out of line and out of order, and you saw that in the scriptures too. There was times where there was disagreements, or the hand saying it's more important than the head, or whatever the case is, and saying we don't need that anymore. Even in the different traditions of even just within Christianity,
Yeah.
like we don't need that anymore. We can't, I don't believe in that. That's old or something like that. That's still a part of the order, whether it's an ancient order that you never heard of, but a biblical order, Christian order, things that are supposed to be done in that way. And we see that throughout the scripture.
Yeah. One interesting thing, too, I saw about similarity between the Christianity and the pagan, if you want to call it that, part of the religion, was when we were in the museum, and they were showing all of these bulls that had been offered to, the god Apollo, and been offered as a token to the oracle. And they weren't like slaughtering animals and spraying blood everywhere. They were making clay totems of bulls and little bronze sculptures. And one was enormous. It was like a life-size Angus bull.
Somebody was rich that offered it, yeah.
That they had created out of wood and clay and silver and gold. And it was beautiful. It was not a lot left of it because it was buried and demolished. But what you could see of it, it was like, they were sacrificing bulls, but it was just like a creation sacrifice, not a destruction sacrifice.
What's it called, a votive offering? Yeah, just to make a little effigy and to bring it up there, and that sounds pagan, but Christians do it.
Apollonius did it.
Yeah, right.
He made a bull out of frankincense and put it on the burnt offering, and he spoke a lot about it, that he got the same effects as these other people who were killing the animals.
Yeah, and I think we would side with him, where it's like, people are misinterpreting the text. People are misinterpreting what they said to do, and the way it's worded, that your mind immediately defaults to, you said it was okay to justify doing evil, really, to kill something, take something else's life, versus like the Christianity teaches you to give your own life.
Yeah.
And then this idea that we stand behind, it was like that these gods wanted you to kill animals or kill people and stuff like that. It was made clear in the scriptures that y'all misunderstood.
Yeah.
I never delighted in these offerings that you guys brought. I delight in clean hands and a pure heart, and a broken heart and a contrite spirit.
Yeah.
Because it was always about the inside process, and the things on the outside are only supposed to reflect what's on the inside. Hence, operating in prophecy, you have a statue, a totem, whatever, of Apollo that reminds you of the gift of prophecy that God gives you through the gods.
Yeah.
That continued, first of all, through every religion, but also through the Christian religion. It's with our platform and stuff in our background, it's, you kind of gotta, I hear the arguments in my head, right?
Yeah.
Because you have the Protestants. Oh, we don't do that. We don't worship saints. We don't pray to saints. We don't make carvings, or we don't have icons and stuff like that. But that is Christianity.
Yeah.
That it's ancient Christianity, because that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. There's some beautiful artwork, but I just know that Protestant Christians think that this doesn't apply to them. It's like, oh, that's them. That's those who are deceived, and they're creating little statues of Jesus and little statues of Paul and candles with Jesus on it, and
Yeah.
all this stuff.
It's funny, like even we met that little old man, the one that was saying he was going to retire, in the little shop down in the town, and he said, asked what religion we were. Like, are you Catholic? And I'm speaking English. He has very broken English because pretty much everybody speaks a little bit of English here, but like there is a language barrier. Let me just say that for a lot of people. But anyway,
For me, we're good. We'll talk about that.
He asked what religion we were, if we were Catholic, and Derek said, yeah, we appreciate all of it, but we're Protestant. And he's like, it's the same. It's the same. So
he said that?
I think he did, yeah.
Okay, because I said it was the same. We both did.
So
Mutual understanding.
Yeah, it is the same. We look for ways to separate ourselves, I think.
Yeah.
Make a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah. Some funny stories already. We still have a week left.
Oh my goodness. It's been like a culture shock for real.
It's fun, but it's different, weird. The good things and the bad things. Just the language barrier. So the first rising, we got up. Drove into the city, I guess, and I was looking for some coffee, and we wanted some coffee, and there's a difference in the coffee here in Greece than it is in our French vanilla, hazelnut.
There's no coffee mate here.
And so I go into this little gas station, and they pump the gas, and I asked if they have coffee. And they said, coffee? Yes. You want coffee? Said, yeah. She said, espresso? I was like, sure. Yeah, espresso. So she made me an espresso. And then she said, espresso and a cigar? Cigar? I said, no, I don't want no cigar. I don't want a cigar with my coffee. I'm just coffee. She said, no. Sugar. I said, oh, sugar. Yeah, I want some sugar. Put a little bit of sugar in it. Yeah. I thought she was trying to offer me a cigar.
Oh, yeah.
Cigar.
And then
No cigar.
We had a problem with our room, the shower. It was like a fancy modern shower, but the water came out from under the glass on one side or both sides. And so it was like flooding the bathroom. And I had asked for towels and told them, hey, the shower's flooding. And the lady came, you were still asleep. With the jet lag and the sleep thing has been weird too. So it was like, I think 11 or 10, you were still asleep. And the lady was like, change the room? Change the room? I said, no, don't change the room. My husband's asleep. I thought she meant like going in and changing the sheets and towels like they usually do.
Mm-hmm.
She said, no, change the room. I said, no, husband's asleep.
Yeah.
And she had to like take me into another room and be like, no, you come in this room.
Yeah.
And we fix the shower. I was like, oh, change rooms. I gotcha.
Yeah. And but then we found out, I guess today, that they wouldn't call it, we're gonna change your sheets and stuff. They say we're gonna freshen it.
Yeah.
They want us to freshen it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, freshen up.
Yeah, it's
Give
been
you new sheets.
super fun. Like first time out of the country. Also like huge learning curve for a lot of reasons. Like the only thing I found like super stressful is the freaking traffic, and the parking is insane here.
We were on our way to go visit another ancient site with this spring to another oracle. What was the name of the city?
Livandia, I think. The Springs of Kira is where the oracle was. And that oracle predates Delphi, supposedly. So it would have been cool to go and see it. The pictures look amazing, but like, man, it's like somebody blew up the town and just made little paths and...
Yeah. The cool thing is like, it's so ancient that these roads weren't meant to drive on.
Yeah.
These are to walk up and down and walk, to the stores and coffee shops and stuff. And most of them are, I don't know, the cars can barely pass. A lot of them are one way, but there are no parking lots.
Nope.
No parking lots. You park on the side,
or the sidewalk,
or somebody's roof. The people just parking everywhere, and we're in a rental car, and like it's chaos and confusion. And confusion's not of God.
It's not.
That's the, I guess the big thing that I guess most people already know that Americans complain about, or we got to get used to, is they're driving. They seem, the people of Greece seem real laid back,
Yeah.
really cool, not in a rush for anything, except when they get behind that
When
wheel.
they get behind the wheel, man, they turn into something else.
Oh, they ride your butt. They going around you. And
Passing in the no passing zone.
Motorbikes everywhere.
It's crazy.
I think a motorbike, like we was in traffic and a motorbike came up and popped a wheelie and went up the back of our car. He went on top of the car over us. I was like, what the? They were just, it's chaos and confusion.
Yeah, it's wild.
So the driving and the parking is insane. The eating was something we had to get used to because it's different from America.
Yeah. So in the mornings, they kind of just wake up on their own schedule. They wake up and get dressed and spend time with their family, and they might make it in to cook at a restaurant at 9 or 10 maybe, if you're lucky. It's difficult to find breakfast here. Early breakfast anyway.
That's not a big, they're not finna break that fast.
They're just like chilling, relaxing, and then like they also take what they call a mezumeri, an afternoon break, where from 2 to 5 around those hours, the stores shut down, people don't drive, they don't listen to loud music, everybody takes naps, spends time with their family,
just chilling.
Eats their big meal of the day. Then
they open back up, seemed like around 5.
Yeah.
From 5 to 9 or 5 to 12, depending on where they're at.
Yeah.
And it was weird to get, I don't say not really used to that, but it's interesting. We hear about that in, Mexico or whatever.
Yeah.
Where they, we always would joke around because we'd see that on job sites.
Right.
Whenever the Mexicans would take lunch.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't, start back work until like 3 o'clock. And they'd work a couple more hours. We got 30-minute break. And, but they'll, what do you call it?
Siesta.
Siesta.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they drinking and everything. They drinking here too, on their little breaks.
But it's similar because it's so hot in Mexico. That's why they do it. That's one reason, is because it's so hot. It gives them time to break and, recover from being out in the heat all day. And apparently it gets really hot here too.
Yeah.
We came in the winter, so it's cold. Not too cold. It's really nice. But
yeah, it's a bit more laid back as far as the tourism too. So I'd hate to see it. That traffic.
It's pretty busy, like to be an off season, I think.
Yeah, and that's what they said, yeah. But one thing we had, get used to as well, it's still a little awkward, still getting used to it, is, a lot of times in the US we eat and go.
Yeah.
When they sit down to eat, there may be a few hour thing because they're like off of work, right? So they sit down and eat, and they ain't going nowhere for 2 hours, 3 hours, and so we're used to eating, and then when you're almost done, they bring you the check. They look at you, okay, you're about done. Here's your check. We were done eating, and we're just sitting there like, man, what's the check? Come on, man, this is gonna reflect your tip. You bring my check, and they never brought the check. And then we Googled it, looked it up. It's like, you gotta ask for your check.
Yeah.
You gotta ask. They don't know if you're gonna be there for 3 hours, if you're gonna order a second meal, And so we have to say, check please.
Right.
Everywhere. So.
Yeah, and they don't tip like we do either. Like, you can tip, but not everyone does. And when you do, it's definitely not like the 25% like we do in America. They said just a very small token just to say, I appreciated the service.
Yeah.
It's strange.
Yeah, it's the quality of food here is way better. Everything seems fresh. Everything seems fresh. Now they do have processed stuff in the stores and stuff for real, but like all these amazing restaurants, it's like some of the best. Been eating pizza like crazy.
Yeah,
that's one thing I know is a safe bet for me.
Yeah,
because a lot of the food is different. You get a cheese pizza or something like that, and but it's been really good. Everything just seems so fresh, and quality, the ingredients, and then the price of the food.
Right. Yeah.
It's something we'll pay, $20, $30 for. In the U.S., it's $10 for big old amazing pizza. I'm like, yeah, dog.
Yeah.
We both ate. We really eat one big meal a day, and we both ate for $10 one day. You know, it
Yeah.
was like
Best
crazy.
pizza we've ever had for $10, 10
Yeah.
10 euros, which is close to $10.
No, but it's interesting. I definitely would recommend people coming to check it out. The different temples, just the ancient world. You know, see, kind of get a piece of what it was like, and then again what it's still like today.
Yeah.
But just a lot of history.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of like a hot button thing. A lot of mystical Christians are talking about like merging timelines or jumping timelines, or, you know, time not being linear. You really feel that when you're standing in the place where Paul stood. Like in Corinth, there's what they call the bema. It's the judgment seat. It's actually the place where Paul stood to be accused of crimes against Judaism. When Gallio pardoned him, he said, I'm not going to hold him accountable for this. You guys do it. Because the Jews in the synagogue didn't like him preaching what he was preaching, and just being there. And, you know, these stones are here, and they were here when Paul was here. And just knowing like everything that happens has a frequency, and it's all recorded, and it's all here in this same spot where we're standing. Like it makes it all feel like it's happening at the same time almost, or it's all stacked on top of each other. It just makes it feel closer. It's really hard
Because
to
some of the same stuff still around.
Yeah. Like to know that the stones you're walking on, like Paul's feet walked on these stones. It's really surreal.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the phrase "we stand on the backs of giants."
Yeah.
Quite literally, the things that happened in these sacred spaces makes you think of how, you know, what other spaces were sacred that are buried, that they're digging up now, tracing it back. You know, there's finding Egyptian temples in the U.S. that were buried. And makes the papers and news, and then it's hush hush. Nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
Finding all types of stuff in the Grand Canyon. You know, like this stuff happened. Essentially, it seems like all over the world.
Yeah.
These same principles, these same stories, the hero's journey, and it's just cool how everything's named after that. You wouldn't know unless you did the etymology or knew the hermeneutics behind, you know, definitions of words and stuff. We were coming up here, we're driving up here, and
Oh yeah.
we was on this road. What was it? I'm a butcher it, but I think it was Loomis,
Lamia Patrius something.
Limia Patron, you know, something like that. Anyway, it was on the GPS. It was behind the car. I was like, what's that? What does that mean? You know, and started looking it up. It's like, I Googled it, the etymology, and it meant and I'm probably butchering the word. I should pull out my phone and see what it is, but we're recording with it. But it was, I think it was limus, something like that. But it was a female winged night entity that stalked and devoured and attacked men. And it has different names, different legends, but it comes from the screech owl in the Hebrew tradition, or in the Hebrew Bible anyway, which is where we get the word Lilith. Lilith, the screech owl,
Yeah.
which was one of Adam's wives that he disrespected, and now there's this enmity between, you know, this kind of female archetype that comes to get you at night, pays you back, you know, in your dream, or drags your soul to hell, or whatever the case she does and is doing. But the street was like named after that. I was like, what is that? What is this? And it wasn't just a street; it was a highway.
Yeah.
It was a highway that connects two cities, and it was Limis Patron or whatever, or patron.
And it went right across the sea, which is interesting too, because like the being sounds a lot like the sirens you hear about, that which come
Yeah.
from the sea.
Yeah, and there were tons of those terracottas or terrafin, whatever, in the museums, which were interesting. The, you know, a bird, essentially like some kind of a winged bird with the head of a woman.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of them.
And that Sphinx, like in that museum, there's an enormous Sphinx. I can't even tell you how big it is, but I know that it was on top of a 12-meter column, is what they said. But it's just so impressive and so ominous when you see it after coming down that road and knowing like just the wings and the woman's face. And then like they tell you about the myths of the Sphinx in the museum, that you had to answer a riddle or pass some kind of test. And if you didn't, they would eat you. Like, sounds very similar to that word you looked up.
Yeah. And it was also cool too to see that a lot of times the prophecies were up to interpretation. You know, it didn't mean just one thing. And that was one thing that they were big on, which is what everything is, right? Everything's up for interpretation.
Yeah.
And that's the, you know, the beauty of it, but that's the fear of it for many, you know, Christians.
Yeah.
Because it's like once your interpretation defaults to the worst, you know, case scenario, you should, you know, it's pretty fearful. You know, it's sacrifice, or what, you know, your mind goes immediately to sacrificing, you know, something that's alive versus giving your body, your life, your will, your time, you know, as a sacrifice, a living sacrifice. Little things like that is lost in interpretation, but it is up for interpretation.
Yeah.
And
It's
I think
all
I think
about-
people are waking up to a more inclusive, more beautiful interpretation. Isn't that right, Mr. Fly?
Yeah, we got a little fly joining us, or a bee or something.
There's some kind of fly.
But yeah, it's all about what it means to you. And superstition and all of that is the same thing. It could mean something good, a good omen or a bad omen. It's all about you and your interpretation of it. Even the Delphic oracle, like all of her prophecies were that way. It was to be interpreted by the person. So if it's positive or negative, it's all about what's in here.
You know what that means. Some of that was like, there's some of that that's like little grounds for false prophecies. Like, hey, whatever it means, but it had a general meaning, like, you know.
Yeah.
But the thing that, like, what gives anything meaning or makes anything worth something is the thing that leaves a imprint on you. That when you leave, you keep thinking about it. Versus, oh, that was cool, and just you're on to the next one, and there's nothing, you know, it didn't stick with you.
Yeah.
So a prophecy or a movie or a conversation or a person you meet, it's like, hey, there was something about that guy that stuck with me, and then you start thinking about it, and then it begins to unfold. And it's the same thing with, you know, myths or dreams or prophecies or whatever.
I just keep going back to those 3 principles at the temple. Know thyself, nothing in excess, owe no man nothing. It's know thyself is knowing who you are and sticking to that and not wavering from it, not letting other people tell you who you are.
No, yeah. Says, I think it's in the Gospel of Thomas. It says, know thyself and you will be known. Know thyself and you'll be known. But it's interesting to know where they got that from.
I know.
Because I guarantee you, all this predates Christianity. That's the thing you got to get to. And you have to be able to honor and show respect, not knowing where your traditions and stuff came from. And still be able to find beauty and honor traditions. Because I'm telling you, like, you start visiting these beautiful ancient sites and cities, it puts a disdain, like, in your mind, distaste for Christianity, knowing what they have done and what they're continuing to do.
Yeah.
and not to let that seep over into Christ, because it's real easy to do. It's what most people do. Instead of Christians did it, so it reflects, their holy book. That's not always the case.
Yeah, I think we want to rise above it, that we want to show there's a better way, that you don't have to hate and destroy and demolish, that everything, Christ is in everything, and you can redeem all things, appreciate all things, honor all things.
Yep. And he did it to show us we can do it. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
It's continuing to be done. So let's let everybody know where they can pick up some Magic Mind.
So I'll put the link in the
'Cause they need
description. We have a special link, but our code is TruthSeekah Pod Jan. That's our code, and you can get 45% off the bundle, which is, I believe, this mental performance shot, which is amazing, and the sleep,
Yeah.
the thing that helps you have peaceful and relaxing sleep.
Sleep aid, sleep elixir.
So
yeah, they're sending that to us. We haven't tried it yet.
yeah, it didn't come before the trip, but we're really excited to try that, and I know we're really going to need it when we get home from all the plane rides. So
yeah,
we'll have to let you guys know when we get home and try it.
We will.
How that
For
is.
sure. It's gonna be cool. But yeah, there's so much to talk about and to see, and you look out there, see it even now, the sun shining off the sea there. But it's very beautiful here. Just serene, just to chill. That's a culture shock there. Just to, like, you can look in any direction and see, the beauty of the mountains and the sky and the landscape.
Yeah.
It's one thing. It's like, look over here. There's the mountain. Even in Colorado, it's like, there's the mountain. As long as are we facing the mountain?
Yeah.
It's like, man, this mountain, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
You can't look in a direction and not see beauty here. It's amazing.
We'll go into some more, some of the stuff again. I mentioned everything in passing. I'm intimidated to teach a lot of it just because I think it's hard to teach, and you got to know so many moving parts of ancient gods and where they came from, and then the words in the Bible. I did, however, buy that icon with Sophia, Pistis, Agape, and Elpis. But I think that was one of the ones that I started with, like seeing the connection.
Yeah.
And then how these three are in the Bible, or these four. And Paul quotes them, talks about them, and then they're commemorated in Catholicism.
Yeah.
Or Christian, Orthodox Christianity, and how they were ancient Greek gods, goddesses before that.
Yeah, but in the Bible, the same words, their names are in there, but it just translates to English as faith, hope, love, and wisdom. But you don't know that these are names of ancient beings that are still accessible to teach us and unlock things in us. Yeah.
Personifications of love. And we see that's how all of it works. So people would demonize and a statue. That's a statue. No, it's a personification of an idea.
Yeah.
Of an essence. Same thing with Jesus. Whether you make a statue or not, you have an image in your mind. When you say that name, this image appears. It's the same thing. Something that you can talk to, without the image or a God that can hear you or whatever. It pushes it a little bit further away versus this personal, relational God. That's one thing that Protestant Christianity has done, because they've made it like accessible to where, like, I don't need anything, or you don't need anything to talk to God. In reality, I guess you don't, but it doesn't even work that way though, because your mind still goes into some type of communication. How is God speaking? That's divination.
Yeah.
Does Christ hear you? How does he hear you? Do you hear him? How? Do you just talk and then just hope, kind of thing?
Yeah.
So it's really the mechanics of the spirituality and the way, the psychology behind it all,
Yeah.
how it works. But I think it's all beautiful, though. It's all really cool and intricate, and, lets us, know that we have companions and angels and all that are ideas or personifications, but are also, literal
Physical beings, yeah.
That either are here or are here in a physical form, maybe somewhere, but were here in a physical form, and to read their stories.
And maybe they return in a different form. Maybe they're in the celestial form. Lots of questions.
No answer. I guess I'll just gaze at the sun.
Yes, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. The sea just looks like shining platinum, silver.
Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us for this impromptu episode from Delphi.
Yes.
Delphi.
It's been fun.
Delphi. You mean Delphi? Yeah.
So we got to get used to podcasting on the road. I mean, it's not that impromptu. We did bring the camera and the mics. I mean, we tried to plan for it.
Yes, we did. So, anyway, make sure you guys subscribe. Check us out on our Patreon and Seer School. We meet weekly. We got friends holding it down right now. Cliff is holding it down, even when we're not there because time zone won't let us be there right now. We still have an awesome community that, meets weekly just to hang out, just to talk, to roll ideas, and to do this. And it's fun. So if you're looking for a community, check out all of our online school and partner with us.
Sounds good. And don't forget to get your magic mind with our code, TruthSeekah PodGen. I'll post a link in the description. It's really good and really helps you focus and be less stressed, which we need here. You're driving anyway.
All right.
For sure.
Yeah, walking, you straight walking.
Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the support and the love. We all love you. See you next time.
Peace.
Peace.